Tonight, the father of one of the island's homicide victims from Dennery believes the killing was a matter of wrong place and wrong time. The mother of another Dennery man who was shot and killed on Monday cries out for justice. And the families of the double homicide victims in Jacmel devastated following the brutal killings. The details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Monday, the 25th of May, 2021. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. The father of one of the island's most recent homicide victims is fighting to come to terms with the death of his son, whom he says was a well-loved youngster in the community. Gabriel Prosper says this was definitely a case of wrong place, wrong time, as his son, who he says was mentally challenged, was no harm to anyone. Rochelle Gonzalez begins our report.
Yet another community in Dennery has been plunged into mourning, anger and shock following a Monday night shooting which claimed the lives of two young men. The victims have been identified as 20-year-old Daniel Prosper and 27-year-old Thomas Flora. As of midday Tuesday, blood still lines the gutter in which the two were killed. Hot 7 TV spoke to Gabriel Prosper, who is the father of 20-year-old Daniel Prosper. Prosper said his son most certainly did not deserve such a fate.
I get to know that about 7:40 in the morning when a lady they call Nigella, she's selling by the shop by the beach. She's selling in a shop. She called me. She said that from last night to tell her that, but she couldn't call me because she's sick. Honestly, I know she's sick. And then like she said that this morning she felt a little better and she called me. My son, like I tell you can pass anywhere and ask everybody that my son is one of the most good guy around. And then like anybody who asks him to do something for them, he would just go and do it. And I have one just over there, Cindy, and if you want to see you want her on the news too, I could go and call her and she would tell you the same thing. Desiree is not a man who look for a boy who look for trouble with anybody. Desiree is not all up there. You understand? Desiree will just sit anywhere with anybody. He would ask him to do anything for you. You could come there right now today and he's there. You tell him, my boy, come and do it for me, please. He would just get up and come and do it for you one time. You understand? And I don't know how I lose my son today.
The grieving father encouraged residents to speak out against crime. As he said, silence encourages the violence.
What I'm saying right now is saying that people that know what is going on, people who sees and hiding themselves and not talking about what go on, and they know maybe the person that do it is their friend, and they don't want to talk about it. I am feeling so bad about it. We need to unite together. It could be my family that do it, and I would say who do it. Honestly speaking, because I cannot see somebody losing their life just like that, and then my son passing out just like that again. Right? I always worry my boy, don't sit among gang, because that is not taking him anywhere. When you see yes, they are a friend, but at the same time, when the guys come, they're not hearing friends or not, they would just open fire. You understand what I'm saying? I don't understand that up to now. I can't understand myself. I can't talk anymore because...
In the end, Prosper was unable to contain his emotions.
I lose one at Ford, drunk at Ford, at 6 years old. And look right now, I lose my son again. Is that okay with me? I'm at work, the morning they called me last night, and this morning they called me and tell me my son is get shot this morning. What have my son done to people, Lord? What have my son done to people, Father? That is hurting me, Lord, is shot him, why? Why, Mother, why?
Meanwhile, the mother of the second victim of the Dennery shooting, which claimed 2 lives, is condemning the perpetrator of the crime, saying that only a cold heart could commit such an atrocity.
Still on the scene of the crime where bullet holes riddle nearby houses, Hot 7 TV spoke to the mother of 27-year-old Thomas Flora, who gave her take on the incident that claimed her son's life.
Last night, while sitting there, my son and I, we were in a little conversation. He asked for food, I gave him food. When I gave him the food, he left. He went and sit on the neighbor's step. While sitting on the neighbor's step, He say, Mommy, I say, George B., make sure you call your grandfather tomorrow. He say, Mommy, but I don't have a phone, so you'll give me the phone for me to wish him happy birthday. I say, okay, I will give you mine. When he finish it, there's the other guy, he just came from and buy a packet of salted biscuit and a soft drink. When I heard my son say, and I heard somebody say, Dizario was about running because he heard the shot and he was about running. The same instance in running, I saw Dizario fall down and my son crawling on the ground and the shooter still standing in the corner of the house watching my son crawl to die. That is no justice. I don't like it. The person you have mother, you have sister. The same way I grieving, I cry yet. I don't want that to happen to your mother or your grandmother or your auntie, because sometimes you all don't even live with your parent. You all live with other relatives, and it's other relatives that have to be talking and taking your blame for you all when they don't know nothing about that.
The grieving mother recounted her close relationship with her son.
Please put down that weapon, the thing they call the gun. Put it down. Before was fist fight. If it's fist fight, so many persons will watch and they will stop you all. I prefer the fist fight. The fist fight better, although fighting is not good at all. But at times we have to find means and ways to stop things. Young men, young women, please stay away from violence, please. I'm grieving over that because I see my son, 3 months, my son on crutches. He's on crutches. What he have done to somebody 3 months while he on crutches to come and kill him that kind of way. That's the only thing I can say. I can't say anything, and I leave everything up to God. God will deal with the person accordingly. Thomas is just Thomas. That's who he was, Thomas. That's who he was, Cole. That's who he was, George B. That's just Cole. Cole will always be Cole, and Cole mother will always be Cole mother, regardless how he used to live his life. He is my son. I carry him 9 months, and I will never stop loving him. Never, never. Because he was a boy I love, and he was in love with me too. That's why I told him, Cole, if it was by me you sitting, both of us would have died, because I wouldn't leave you and I wouldn't let you run without running too.
Monday's shootings bring the total number of homicides for the year so far to 25. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
MP for Castries Southeast, Guy Joseph, is chiming in on the current spate of crime in the country. On his Monday night talk show, Guy Joseph argued that while the government must lay the foundation, the burden cannot be placed squarely on politicians.
A call on the Monday night show featuring Castries Southeast MP Guy Joseph has prompted fresh debate about the level of crime in St. Lucia and how to best solve it. Over the weekend, St. Lucia recorded 4 new homicides, and previously, violence among schools as well as possession of a firearm by a minor have been hot topics of discussions among members of society. Joseph, while recognizing that government indeed had a role to play, impressed upon the rest of society to share the load.
The churches play a very critical role. They are bringing of children and the family. And I heard last week a 12-year-old got arrested with a firearm at school. These are the things that, and we've known how a lot of the firearms are getting here.
I understand that.
It's the government responsibility to create the enabling environment to deal with these issues. But it must be a collective approach towards solving a lot of these issues.
The question of prayer and religious teachings being a part of schools surfaced during the discussion. Joseph said that the shift seen over the years was not only swayed by government, but due to a reliance on world bodies for support.
We're following a system that in their own countries it does not work. You understand? Look at what happens in the States. Look at the massacres that happen. But this administration and the past administration have been taking steps moving away from our traditional model of raising children.
Can I tell you why that happens? Because you need the money from them. And they are the ones who say, so it's not even the US, it's the UN and the new. So you look at the IMF, the World Bank and everything, for you to trade for you to do certain things. We don't live in isolation by ourselves. There are requirements that you have to abide by. But let me tell you where I see the biggest problem, caller. It is our value system. So I spoke earlier about growing up. Whether my parents went to church or not, every Sunday as a child growing up, you had to go to church. You had to go to catechism. You had to get your confirmation. Now children are born. They get to a certain age. They are not even baptized as a baby, as for those who practice infant baptism.
Joseph argued that society should return to the basics to establish a better value system for citizens. Only then will we see a marked shift in the state of crime. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. Still to come, we speak to the families of homicide victims in Jacmel. The Prime Minister speaks on the spate of crime, and the Ministry of Education brings in the police to address the spate of robberies targeting students.